He's not going to fight in the ring anymore. Obviously, you think that's the right decision based on what you saw here tonight, right?
Yeah, he's been in a lot of wars, with his fighting style. Come forward, take some punishment, dish some punishment, and try to break somebody down. That type of style, it don't even go so far.
Retiring, man. Perfect timing.
Beautiful thing, perfect timing.
Errol Spence was a little drained tonight, and he didn't really do what he needed to do. Definitely took advantage of that, and he made it look.
Errol Spence Jr.'s reported retirement has sparked widespread reactions across the boxing world. Fighters, trainers, and analysts have all taken a moment to recognize the former unified welterweight champion following his defeat to Tim Tszyu. Although the loss marked a disappointing conclusion to an outstanding career, many believe it does little to diminish everything Spence accomplished inside the ring. Fans and fellow professionals continue to praise his toughness, dominant championship run, and fearless attitude toward taking on the toughest challenges boxing had to offer. His career may have ended on a difficult night, but his legacy as one of the sport's most respected champions remains firmly intact.
Are very good at having, pride and ego and things like that. And a lot of them can't come with that decision that it's time to hang it up, and they just want to keep going and keep going and keep going. Which, you just got to be real with yourself. And, when it's time, it's time. And I'm real with myself to know that, it's time. A lot of boxers don't think it's time, and they just keep going, keep going, keep going. But I know after tonight, y'all want to see me again in the ring.
Terence Crawford shared a candid reaction following Errol Spence Jr.'s unanimous decision defeat to Tim Tszyu and the announcement of Spence's retirement. Reflecting on the performance, Crawford admitted it was tough to watch his longtime rival struggle in the ring. He said Spence appeared slower than usual, seemed off balance at times, and simply wasn't at his best that night. Despite the intense rivalry they shared over the years, Crawford revealed he had been hoping Spence would deliver a strong performance. He also expressed support for Spence's decision to retire, explaining that years of demanding fights and punishment had likely caught up with him. Crawford went on to commend Tim Tszyu for staying disciplined, sticking to a patient strategy, and earning a well-deserved victory through a composed and effective performance.
Man, just they have it. From the jump, you could tell that his balance was off. He was reaching. He just didn't have it tonight.
Do you think it was a layoff? Do you think it was a combination of things? Like, what do you think?
Probably all of it. All of it? Yeah. He didn't take the punches well. He was slow. Like, you can just tell that Tim was more fresher.
Was it hard for you to watch?
Kinda. I really wanted him to do real well. He did what he had to do to finish the fight, though.
Hopefully he comes over here.
On you, Errol. All the best, Errol. You're a legend, mate. God bless.
Bill Haney reacted to Errol Spence Jr.'s retirement by applauding the former unified welterweight champion for leaving boxing on his own terms. Although Spence's career ended with a disappointing loss to Tim Tszyu in Australia, Haney emphasized that the bigger picture deserved respect. In a post on X, he wrote that while retiring after a defeat overseas was not the ideal ending, Spence walked away while financially secure, standing on his own feet, and still able to provide for his family, an outcome many fighters never achieve. Ryan Garcia also weighed in after Spence's defeat, encouraging the former champion to make retirement official. Garcia said he was not surprised by the result, explaining that Spence had not looked like the same fighter for quite some time. While showing respect for everything Spence accomplished during his career, Garcia believed stepping away from the sport was the right decision. In his message on X, Garcia wished Spence well in retirement and urged him to prioritize his long-term health, saying it was time to move on from boxing. Gary Russell Jr. shared a more concerned perspective following Spence's loss to Tim Tszyu. Rather than focusing solely on the outcome of the fight, Russell pointed to what he felt was a lack of the intense, highly visible training that had become a trademark of Spence's previous camps. He suggested that the absence of those familiar signs of preparation raised questions about whether Spence entered the fight in the condition needed to compete at the highest level, expressing concern about the former champion's readiness heading into such an important bout.
I'm not sure. I don't know how Earl is. I ain't seen him train. I still had my reservations before he even fought. Terrence
Crawford.
I had my reservations then. I felt like maybe I felt as though I wanted him to get a little more healthier mentally.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like. I mean, now granted they got doctors, but I felt like it was something slightly neurologically wrong with Earl going into the fight. I don't know if it had something to do with the car accidents or anything like that of the sort. So maybe he took the time to really revamp himself and get back to who he was before everything. But I still have concerns about that.
Gary Russell Jr. suggested that several factors may have played a role in Errol Spence Jr.'s loss to Tim Tszyu, pointing to the major changes that took place before the fight. One of the biggest adjustments, he noted, was Spence's decision to part ways with longtime trainer Derek James and begin working with veteran coach Ronnie Shields. After spending so many years with the same corner, Russell believed that making such a significant change ahead of a high-profile bout could have had an impact. Russell also explained that he hadn't seen the same level of public training footage or the intense preparation that had become associated with Spence's previous fight camps. That difference left him wondering whether everything was truly in place before Spence stepped into the ring. While he stopped short of drawing any firm conclusions, he admitted the lack of familiar signs raised questions in his mind about Spence's overall readiness. More than anything, Russell emphasized that his greatest concern extends beyond wins and losses. He said Errol Spence Jr.'s physical health and mental well-being are what matter most, adding that a fighter's quality of life after retirement is far more important than the outcome of any single fight. In Russell's view, protecting Spence's future outside the ring should take priority over anything that happened on fight night.
Let's add in also the fact that he's with a new trainer, very well-respected trainer, Ronnie Shields.
Yeah, you know, all of that matters. You know, you got a new trainer. When you have new trainers, it's different than just going out there getting a trainer. You have to have a certain level of trust and belief. You have to have chemistry with this person. You have to believe that even when everything is going wrong, to have a certain level of belief, trust, and faith to go out there and attempt to execute the stuff that's been given to you. Is he going to be confident enough in that relationship that they building with one another within this short period of time? I don't know. I do believe that just stylistically, what I accustomed to what Earl bring and Tim Tszyu, I think stylistically it's going to be a great fight.
Veteran trainer Johnny Lewis described Tim Tszyu's unanimous decision victory over Errol Spence Jr. as the defining performance of the Australian's career. He praised Tszyu for remaining disciplined from the opening bell to the final round, saying he followed a smart game plan and answered his critics with a composed display against one of boxing's most respected former champions. Rather than chasing a dramatic finish, Lewis noted that Tszyu stayed patient, picked his moments carefully, and avoided getting pulled into unnecessary exchanges. Lewis also highlighted Tszyu's excellent conditioning and relentless work rate, explaining that the constant pressure gradually wore Spence down as the fight progressed. According to the veteran trainer, Tszyu's ability to maintain a high pace while staying technically sound was one of the biggest reasons he controlled the later rounds and secured a convincing unanimous decision. In Lewis's view, the performance showcased not only Tszyu's physical strength but also his growth in ring IQ and composure, proving he belongs among boxing's elite.
Lewis, what do you think of that?
Good performance by Tim. I thought he controlled it and dictated it. I thought he won well.
What do you make of Jeff in his corner? Obviously a victory is a great thing.
Well, he's a lot better than what he's had in there in the past.
What's it like to see this happen, this event, and a victory like this? What's it mean for you to see something like this in Australia?
Well, it's breathing fire into our sport, so wonderful.
Terence Crawford praised Tim Tszyu after his impressive victory over Errol Spence Jr., crediting the Australian with delivering a disciplined and intelligent performance from start to finish. Crawford said Tszyu executed his game plan effectively, maintained steady pressure throughout the fight, and took full advantage of Spence's inability to keep up with the pace. Rather than forcing the action recklessly, Tszyu remained composed, made smart adjustments, and consistently controlled the tempo of the contest. While Crawford acknowledged that Errol Spence Jr. is no longer at the peak of his career, he stressed that nothing should be taken away from Tszyu's accomplishment. In his view, defeating a former unified welterweight champion is a significant achievement regardless of where Spence is in his career. Crawford concluded that Tszyu earned the victory through discipline, patience, and a well-executed strategy, proving he belongs among the top names in the sport.
Think of how Tim fought.
Tim did what Tim had to do to get the victory.
Yeah.
He was patient. He went well to the body, and he threw the right hand, landed the right hand when he had to, and he got the job done.
How does he match up now with the guys at 54 or 60, guys like Boots, guys like Virgil Ortiz, in your opinion, Terrence?
I don't see him coming back down to 154. He looked real strong at 160, so we'll see him with Carlos Adames and all those guys.
All right. Good stuff, Terrence. As always, thank you.
For sure.
Nikita Tszyu believes his brother delivered the best performance of his professional career with his victory over Errol Spence Jr. Looking back on the fight, Nikita praised Tim's composure, sharp ring IQ, and disciplined approach from the opening bell through the final round. He said Tim stayed focused on the game plan, made smart decisions under pressure, and showcased the maturity of a seasoned champion against a former unified world title holder. According to Nikita, every part of Tim's skill set came together on fight night, making it the most complete performance of his career. From his timing and defense to his relentless pressure and conditioning, Tim executed at an elite level without losing his composure. Nikita believes the victory demonstrated that his brother has developed into a genuine world-class fighter who can compete with the very best in boxing. In his view, the win should put to rest any lingering doubts about Tim Tszyu's championship credentials and confirm his place among the sport's elite.
The perfect thing that he could have ever done. He was smart. It's the Tim Tszyu that I know and that everyone knows. That's the most dangerous version of him. The guy that thinks, stalks, and detonates.
George Rose had high praise for Tim Tszyu following his dominant victory over Errol Spence Jr., saying the Australian looked completely in control from the opening bell to the final round. Rose highlighted Tszyu's composure, precise timing, and ability to dictate the pace against a former unified world champion, describing the performance as one of the finest of his professional career. He noted that Tszyu never seemed rattled under pressure and carried out his game plan with confidence and discipline throughout the fight. Rose also pointed to Tszyu's maturity inside the ring, praising the way he remained patient while consistently applying pressure and capitalizing on key opportunities. According to Rose, the victory showcased not only Tszyu's physical abilities but also his growing experience and ring intelligence. In his view, the emphatic win has firmly re-established Tim Tszyu among boxing's elite, strengthened his reputation on the world stage, and placed him right back in the conversation for the biggest championship fights the sport has to offer.
Tim's a lot more active than most fighters, so a break for him could mean that we see him roll out again at the end of the year, and who that's against we'll be working on over the next few weeks, next few days. We'll work on a plan for what's next for him, because he said he likes fighting at 160. I thought he looked amazing at 160, and I reckon there's some good fights there for him too.
There will be those out there that will say that Spence is not what he once was. Response to that, and how much credit does Tim Tszyu deserve tonight?
I think he deserves a lot of credit for what he did, given the journey that he's been on as well. I think coming into this fight, a lot of people said that they don't know what they'll see because you don't know what you're going to get from Errol, you don't know what you're going to get from Tim. I think he deserves credit for the performance that he put on, for how strong and how dominant he was. And Errol himself said that he felt ready, that he felt good coming into that fight. So give it the respect that it deserves. It was a good win. It was a very, very good win. Where you want to rate it, amongst other wins, it's up to each person. But for Tim Tszyu to beat a legend, a great American boxer in Errol Spence Jr., I think that's something that he deserves credit and will be one of his greatest.
Speaking at the post-fight press conference, Tim Tszyu said moving up from 154 pounds to 160 pounds had a significant impact on his performance. According to Tszyu, no longer having to put his body through an intense weight cut allowed him to enter the ring feeling stronger, healthier, and more energized. He explained that the extra strength helped him dictate the physical exchanges, enabling him to push Errol Spence Jr. backward instead of being forced onto the defensive. Tszyu also revealed that by the third round, he felt the momentum had shifted firmly in his favor and believed he was in complete control of the fight. As his confidence grew, he even began to think a stoppage victory was possible. He credited his success to staying disciplined and following a defense-first game plan, focusing on catching Spence's punches, making him miss, and responding with accurate counters. Tszyu said remaining patient and trusting the strategy throughout the contest played a major role in securing one of the biggest wins of his career.
First thing he said was that, like, I think physicality was the difference, you know. I was starving myself to get to 154, and I feel a big difference at 160. I feel like, I just feel much stronger, you know. One of my big things is strength, being able to bully my opponents, and I felt like that's what I did. I was actually a bit in shock. I thought, you know, Errol Spence was a legend again, but how I felt in front of him just felt completely different.
At what stage did you think you had it?
Probably from round 3 onwards. And then I really felt like I could stop him at one stage, but then again, he knows how to bounce back. But again, he was on survival half the time. He was running around. I was touching him up to the body. I think that was a big difference. Every time I hit him, straight right to the body, he was going, you know, and sort of like me and him are the only ones that can hear.
Adrian Broner became visibly emotional after learning that his longtime friend Errol Spence Jr. had suffered a unanimous decision loss to Tim Tszyu. During a live stream, Broner initially appeared shocked by the outcome before expressing his disappointment with how the fight unfolded. As he reflected on the result, the former 4-division world champion struggled to hide his emotions, admitting that seeing Spence lose was difficult to accept. The moment eventually became too much for Broner, who stepped away from the stream, leaving many viewers surprised by his heartfelt reaction. Broner and Spence have shared a close friendship for many years, making the defeat especially personal for him. Rather than focusing on the scorecards or criticizing Spence's performance, Broner's reaction showed genuine concern for someone he considers a close friend. His emotional response resonated with many fans, who praised him for displaying loyalty, compassion, and respect during a difficult moment. For many viewers, it was a reminder that the bonds formed in boxing often extend far beyond what happens inside the ring.
What a spark.
He done.
And you
Talk on me! Adrian! Talk on me! Broner!
What are you doing? You getting naked? We don't want to get Pay attention to check, huh?
I don't know what's going on. What's about to happen?
Boxing analysts described Tim Tszyu's victory over Errol Spence Jr. as a career-defining and potentially career-saving performance, saying the Australian rose to the occasion when the pressure was at its highest. After a series of recent setbacks, many believed Tszyu needed a signature win to re-establish himself among boxing's elite. By defeating a former unified world champion in convincing fashion, they said he accomplished exactly that and reminded the boxing world of his championship-caliber abilities. Analysts praised Tszyu's composure, disciplined game plan, and relentless pressure throughout the contest. They noted that he remained patient, avoided unnecessary risks, and consistently executed his strategy from the opening bell to the final round. According to their assessment, the victory not only restored Tszyu's momentum but also elevated his standing in the sport, placing him back in the conversation for major title fights and high-profile matchups against the division's top contenders.
Like, just the way the fight went, everyone apart from Paulie Malignaggi was saying the longer the fight goes, the more it favours Spence. He's going to pull away, he's going to be too crafty, he's going to be too slick.
Yeah.
It was more of a dogfight, more of a battle in the trenches, I felt. And even then, if the fight had gone that way, you asked me this yesterday, I thought, I don't know how much is left in Tim's chin and his body. But he came through. He pulled through. I was really impressed with the way that he fought, with how he basically almost nullified everything Spence was trying to do. Spence went to the body. Spence tried to fight in close. Spence tried to fight at range. No luck anywhere.
Yeah.
Super impressive, career-saving, career-changing win from Tim Tszyu.
Yeah, I thought that was the thing too. When Spence come in and wanted to fight on the inside, I think he was surprised at Tim's defense on the inside. Yeah, he landed some body shots. He probably landed double the body shots Tim Tszyu landed. But when he was in close, I don't think he could be as effective or damage Tim Tszyu in the way he thought. And then that's when he started moving and impressive performance from Tim Tszyu.
In a recent interview before facing Tim Tszyu, Errol Spence Jr. opened up about the reasons behind his return to the ring. He revealed that while his family would rather see him retire and enjoy a quieter life on a ranch, the decision to fight again was ultimately his own. Spence explained that his comeback wasn't driven by a desire to erase the memory of his previous defeat or to rewrite the ending of his career. Instead, he said his motivation came from a genuine love for boxing and the realization that he still enjoyed the process of training and competing. Spence also shared that he had taken his time rebuilding his fitness before committing to another fight. As his conditioning improved, he began to believe he might still have another meaningful chapter left in the sport. At the same time, he avoided making bold promises about chasing another world title or launching a lengthy comeback. Instead, Spence emphasized that he would evaluate his future only after seeing how he performed against Tim Tszyu, preferring to let his performance inside the ring determine whether he would continue his career or step away from boxing.
Let's see how I do in this fight and we'll think about it, or like, what are you thinking in terms of that, like the future in the sport for you in boxing?
I'm really just not thinking about anything. This is really just for me, The kids are great, the family's good, this is really, just for me. If my family had it their way, I'll be done and right off in the sunset and on a ranch somewhere. So so this is for me.
What about it, like, for you? Is it like you want to go out on your own terms? Like, are you like, the last fight, that can't be the last fight, like, that people see me and I want to have another fight where I look good? Like, talk to a little bit about like this being for you.
I mean, people think too much of it, saying that I want to go out on my own terms or the last fight, this and that. Nah, I really just I'm somebody who really enjoy boxing. It's something I've been doing for a long time. And and then I just stopped doing it cold, but I just got the urge to do it again. And it's definitely hard coming back, but once I started training and just put my all into it, it got better. My body got adapted to training, and things got a lot smoother and easier, and I felt pretty normal. So I was like, man, maybe I can make another run at this. So definitely, going to make another run.
Errol Spence Jr. shared an emotional farewell message with his supporters after confirming his retirement in the wake of his loss to Tim Tszyu. The former unified welterweight champion thanked his fans for their unwavering support throughout every stage of his career, saying their encouragement had meant everything to him. Spence explained that, after giving so much to the sport, he felt the time was right to walk away on his own terms and begin the next chapter of his life. He said one of the biggest reasons behind his decision was his desire to leave boxing while still healthy, financially secure, and able to enjoy quality time with his family. Rather than continuing to fight simply for the sake of extending his career, Spence believed it was the right moment to prioritize his long-term well-being and life outside the ring. Spence also showed class in defeat by congratulating Tim Tszyu on his impressive victory and wishing him continued success in the future. He closed his message by expressing gratitude to everyone involved in the event, including his team, the organizers, and the fans who had supported him throughout his remarkable journey, bringing an accomplished boxing career to a heartfelt and respectful conclusion.
Say thank you to all my fans. I appreciate y'all this long journey, especially the ones who've been with me through it all. You haven't seen, all the trials and different tribulations that I've been through. And, I thank y'all. We've been on a long journey. But, you gotta be smart enough to end the journey when it's time to end the journey and not keep going. So I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And thank y'all for the support and thank y'all for everything.